Right, welcome back to another Quick Play Baseball video. My name is Brian Hafferkamp. I'm the designer and creator of Quick Play Baseball. In this video, I'm going to introduce the new revised version of Quick Play Baseball. So quite a few additions and changes that are made to this game. Quick Play is a game that I came up with maybe a year or a year and a half ago, I guess, maybe 18 months or so. And really it was the beginning of another game called Tabletop Baseball Manager, which may or may not ever be made. Some parts of Tabletop Baseball Manager have actually made their way into this game, so this could be this new version could be sort of a beautiful melding of those two games, and could just be enough. We'll see. So, Quick Play Baseball is what it says. It's a quick play baseball game. There are three different modes now, though. So the first mode is going to be the sort of traditional, original quick play mode, where you flip a situation card, you flip one regular card from a deck of cards, and that simulates the entire half an inning. So if there's a hit and run score, then you count the runs. If it's an out, then the inning is over, and then you go to the next half inning. I've also added a quick play, or a medium play, I guess is what I would call it, where you flip the situation card, and then you literally play out the rest of the inning using a regular deck of cards in sort of a quasi play-by-play fashion. So the initial inning is set for you based off of situation cards that come with the game. You shuffle those cards, and it sort of randomizes the situations that are in the game. And then you play out the rest of the inning, and it's really kind of a fun way to get into a quicker playing game. And the last mode, which I'm calling modes and not versions, it's all the same version of the game, all the same. The players are rated for every different version of the game. You can just simply choose which version you like to play, or maybe you want to play a quick play version for the games you want to quote unquote simulate. And the games you actually want to play, maybe you want to do the full play version. But the full play version uses one deck of cards, no situation cards, and the play-by-play charts. So whereas the medium play game is sort of a mixture of the two, the full play game is just like any other, well, most other baseball games on the market, where you go batter by batter, inning by inning, and you use a deck of cards instead of rolling dice. So those are the three game modes, and let me just walk you through the components that you're going to get. It's a very small footprint of a game. So the first one is you will have this era-specific, I don't even know what you call it, a fold-out booklet? I'm not sure. But you can fold it. It'll come on one piece of paper, so you'll cut off the bottom half of the paper. But this is just the top half of a piece of paper, and you can print this onto cardstock if you want, but I find it nice and easy to sort of fold it. That way you have it, you can just kind of open it up or flip it throughout the game. So I've intentionally put that like that because I want it to be about the size of a card. You can see this is a playing card, and it's about the same size. So when it folds up, you could literally take your deck of cards and you can slide that into your box of cards and carry it around just in the box that comes with the cards. So that's sort of the intention there, and hopefully you find that to be quite valuable. I guess I like it because it protects it, and it allows me to simply pull that out with a sheet of paper and play a game. That's literally a card box is all you need to play a full play baseball game. It's pretty wild. So we have our chart here. This is our play-by-play chart. You can see this is for the expansion era, and I am selling this game in eras instead of season by season. The seasons, it's just better. It's better to group everybody together into different eras. I think it's a more valuable game if it's like that. That way, if you only like to play dead ball, you could buy the dead ball era, which isn't available yet, but I do have it finished. So I'm just trying to make sure I get through all of the eras. What I'm trying to do is group, and I'll show it in just a minute. I'm trying to group the batters and pitchers together on the roster sheet. This is something that's been requested by people, gamers who have played some of my other games that have roster sheets on them. And so I'm trying that with this game because I'm kind of starting fresh, and it's like I thought, it's more labor intensive, but hopefully it makes for a better gameplay experience because the roster sheets are all that we're going to have for this game. So, and I'll show you how to transfer those batters and pitchers and stuff like that. On this chart, the very colorful chart, that is our strategy plays chart. So we have sacrifice bunts, squeeze bunts, stealing, and then bunting for hits. So green means successful, red means not successful, and so you can see on a sacrifice, a 6 through an ace would be a successful sacrifice bunt. If not, if it's not successful, I've been just calling it a strikeout, and no runners move up or anything. We also have rare and unusual plays, both for the batter and for the pitcher, because whenever you have a good pitcher, the pitchers are rated 0, -1, and -2. So -2 is your best pitchers. -1 is sort of a B level, someone between 3.5 and 4 FIP, FIP. That's their rating, sort of like an ERA. And anyone with greater than 4 gets a 0. So there's no adjustment on the chart here. But if the pitcher is a -1 or a -2 and draws a 6 of hearts, that becomes, if they're a -2 pitcher, it becomes a 4 of hearts. So you can see that the pitchers can move this way, so that when you have a 2 of hearts and you need to subtract 1 or 2, what happens? You can either just play it where nothing goes off the chart, you just get your way down to the bottom of the chart. That's probably technically the most statistically accurate way to play this game, because the chart is sort of based off of that. It's not based off of going off of the chart, because that only happens a handful of times each game. So if you want the most statistical accuracy, you would play without rare plays. But rare plays make it a lot funner and interesting. But what you run into is, say, Ted Williams rolls an ace of spades. Instead of getting a home run, he goes over to the rare and unusual plays. So, and there's no home run. There's a home run on the dead ball one, and I believe the live ball, but no home runs on the sort of the later seasons off of the batter. Because home runs are more common, they should be on the chart. But the good part is, when he rolls a queen of hearts or a queen of spades, he hits a home run instead of a single. So it probably does even out in the end. But if you want the most realistic chance, Ted Williams should have a home run opportunity at the queen, king, and the ace, probably, because that's about a 5.5–6% chance of a home run, which is a little stronger than his actual statistics, but it will probably come out pretty close to where he needed to be, because he's going to move up +2 here and +2 here, and then if you cap it without going off of the chart, then that would give him 3 opportunities realistically to hit a home run. So that would be the most statistically accurate way to play that. I was thinking about that the other day, because I played that situation happened to me where it was Frank Robinson or someone who should have hit a home run in that instance, and he didn't. Instead he like got hit by a pitch or something. But I do think that the rare and unusual plays, if you're willing to sort of get past that, the rare and unusual plays are kind of fun to add to the game, and they add more colorful plays that you're not going to get off of the charts. So when the batter goes off of the chart this way, then rare and unusual plays for the batter come into play. When the pitcher, when it goes off the chart this way for the pitcher, then you would flip a card for the rare and unusual plays for the pitcher. It doesn't matter with suits. You just flip the card, and whatever the value of the card is, that's where you look. So all kinds of things: looping liners, crashing into the wall, line drives to the pitcher, close calls. There's a wild pitch on strike 3 for the pitcher. The wild pitch means the batter's out at first, and for the batter, it would be safe at first. So just kind of unusual plays. There's a 2-base error. There's some infield singles. You can hit a triple off of the rare and unusual plays in the expansion side. In the dead ball era, there's actually a triple on the chart. Triples just they're at about 0.5%. Um, you know, it's just there just aren't that many triples. Um, so it's 0.5% against all the plate appearances. Um, it's just not that common per plate appearance to get a triple. So it's it's it should be on the rare and unusual play. From about 1950 on in baseball, it should be on the rare and unusual plays. It didn't happen that often, not as often as we hope it happened. And then over here, you got sort of like slow rollers. You have a chance for a line drive double play, foul tip strikeout, a sliding catch, and looping liners, and different things like that. Some of these overlap and they're the same. There's a batter injury. He's out at first. Batter injured at first base. He's out for the game. So that's kind of a boon to the defense, especially if it's a good batter. But you're basically going to have to make a little switcheroo and bring in someone that's not a starter, usually. And so that's kind of for the defense. So these are your sort of strategies, charts. You're going to use this chart with the medium and the full play game. So it's an important chart. And when you buy an era, let's say you buy the expansion era, which is the one that's available right now, with more to come very soon. In fact, I'm almost finished with the free agency era, which is 1977 and 1993. So if you're in the 1980s, early 90s baseball, late 70s, that's going to be yours. And it'll be available for $10 as well. So it's a great price. You get all those seasons, 16 or 17 seasons, for I think it's less than 60 cents per season. So it's actually pretty great value, I think. So it's going to be, this chart is going to be era specific, and the strategy plays chart, as much as I could get it, is also going to be era specific. So thinking through and looking at stolen base percentages and things like that over these actual years of these different eras, I put that together. So that is a very important piece there. The next component that you're going to get these situation cards. There are 40. There are 40 situation cards. I think before I'd said something like there were almost 60. I don't know what I was thinking, but there are 40. So you're going to get it's 8 times 5. You're going to get 5 sheets, 5 pieces of paper. They have 8 of these on each sheet, just sort of laid out side by side. And the sheets go from, they're sort of grouped, right? So the first sheet, and you'll see them if you purchase it and you get the situation cards. The first sheet is going to have nobody on, nobody out. I think there's a whole sheet of those. I actually went through the statistics in 2022, I guess, is probably the season I was looking at. It was a more modern season, and was just kind of using that as a gauge for how many times do these situations happen in a game, and wanted to make sure that I'm replicating that percentage within the situation cards that I offer to the user, so that if you cut out all 40, which this is all 40 right here, if you cut out all 40 and you use these to play a game, you shuffle them and make sure that you're shuffling them for each game, you could flip one card and wouldn't have to reshuffle this deck, but you would literally get all of the situations, that the run out situations, the base runner out situations in a game, at the appropriate percentages. So that if you pulled a nobody on, nobody out, there were as many of those cards as is the right percentage for a game. So I went through and kind of just looked at how many of these different out situations there were total, and then divided all the games by those out situations, and then came to percentages. So nobody on and nobody out happens like 40% of the time, 40% of the at-bats in a game. or plate appearances, I'm sorry. And so I have 40% or so of those cards in here. It's not exact percentages because I needed to get everything into the game, but it's pretty close. And then a lot of these are going to be, especially some of the runners on, need more extensive. So cards like this is probably only happens once per game, you know, where you have one out and runners is second and third. So some of these cards you'll notice, especially with lots of runners on base or something like that, there's only one of them in the deck. And that's on purpose because it doesn't happen per game very much. So we have these situation cards, and I'll just show a few of them. Here's a good one. So here's a couple of them that you can see. Actually, we get that down there like this, and we hit this button, we can zoom right in. Okay, so we see a couple of these situation cards. You'll notice a couple of things about them. First is this big 2. That is how many outs there are in the inning. And the way that you play with the situation cards is you have a deck. So you have your deck of cards like this, and then you simply pull one over, and then for that half inning, this is the situation that you are going to set up. Whether you're playing the quick play game or the medium play game, this is the situation for your half inning. So for the quick play game, you would simply pull one card from the deck of cards from your team, and if there's a hit, and let's say the hit was a double, with nobody out, a double would score this run from second. This run or this batter would, or the base runner, sorry, would go to third. So 1, 2, and then the batter would go to second base. So you would have second and third after that, but one run would score. Now, if this were 2 outs on a double, everybody scores because everybody gets an extra base with 2 outs. So the run from second would score easily because it's a double. And then you would get 2 bases here for the double plus 1 extra base. So the runner from first would score as well. That'd be a base clearing double. You would get 2 runs, and then you would move on to the next half inning. If the batter made an out, then it would just be an out, no runs scored. So that's how you play with the situation cards, and that is the quick play version. Now, if you were to lay one of these cards on the medium play version, you would set up the inning same as before. So let's say we're using this card here, 2 outs, runners at second and third. And because we're playing out the rest of the inning with the quick play version, or with the medium play version, we need to really be able to fill in what happened so that we can get an entire game. The whole point is to not skip over batters. In the quick play version, you're going to skip over batters. Some guys may not even get a chance to hit in the game. So that's part of the quick play version, and that's what makes it so fast. You can play it in, I don't know, anywhere between 6 to 10 minutes. You can play an entire game, depending on how much you shuffle and how quickly you're moving through. And so in the medium play version, we want to try to play out an entire game, but we're going to simulate parts of the game. We're not going to do play-by-play for the entire game. Okay, so it's sort of a melding of the two worlds. So you want to set up this situation, 2 outs, runners at second and third, and then we need to know if we're going to play an entire game, how did we get into that situation? And so what we need to do is add some results down here at the bottom, which we did. So their leading off is going to be a single to left field. Then there was a fly out to left. Then there's a double to left center field. So we had a runner at first, and then there was a double, which makes it second and third with 1 out. And then we had a strikeout. So now we're at second and third with 2 outs. And from the last inning, we count 5 batters down, and that's the batter who is going to be up to bat. Now, this number is more important in the quick play game than it is in the medium version of the game, or the medium mode. I need to say mode because it's a game mode that you can turn on and off. So this is more important in the quick mode than the medium. But because once you outlay all of these results, you're going to get to the right batter who's up to bat to start the inning. And then basically from this situation, you begin to do the play-by-play, where you use our play-by-play chart in order to finish out the rest of the inning. So this is sort of setting up the inning. If you had this card drawn, there would be 2 outs, nobody on base. And how did we get to our 2 outs? We had a ground ball out, 4-3 on the putout, and then we had a ground ball out, 2-3, so to the catcher to first. And then the third batter down from the last inning, where the last inning ended, the third batter down is going to be the batter who's up to bat. And then you would literally play that out. If you kept playing and you scored 5 runs, that's just what happens whenever you play out the rest of the inning. But it could just as easily be the next batter flies out and that's the end, or strikes out, or whatever. So that's how you play the medium play game. And so you're going to come with all of these cards. They all have the results down here at the bottom. You can see this one, bases loaded and 2 outs. How did we get there? You would basically just go through your score sheet and you just mark down each one. So there's an error on the pitcher. There is a ground ball to third base, and the third baseman goes to the second baseman covering second. So a fielder's choice at second base is what that is, 5-4. So it goes 5-4, and erases this guy, and this guy will be at first. There's a single to right field, which presumably would push the runner on first to third. And then there is a so that puts 2 on. You could make that the runner goes first to third, or the runner goes just to second base. There's a walk, and so we fill in, and that's our 3 base runners, right? So we got 1, 2, 3 on base. There's a pop-up to the catcher, and then that's how we get our 2 outs. So we have 1 out here with the force out. We have 2 outs here, and then it's going to be the 6th batter down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the next batter up is the 6th batter. So, boy, I'm not showing that very well. Sorry. So that's how we get to our situation that we're in for the half inning. So let's zoom out a little bit. Okay, so those are our situation cards. Again, there are 40 of those that come with the game, and you can see they're just, I just have them printed on 65-pound card stock. You could put it on 110-pound card stock, and they would probably look and feel like regular cards. You could snip the corners, and you can see that they're about the size. Well, they actually are the size of a regular playing card. So you could snip the corners to match, and you would have sort of an equal set of cards there. You could also have them printed professionally at a printing place, which would help. And then you'd be able to choose your card stock and stuff like that if you wanted them glossy, that type of thing. And then the last thing that you need is going to be a standard deck of cards. Nothing fancy or flashy here. Just instead of using dice, you're going to use cards to play this game. So the chart here is based off of a standard deck of cards with all suits. And the way that we read this, let's see if we can get in close here. And the way that we read the chart is, let's just pull a card. Let's say our card is an 8 of hearts. So we're going to look at the hearts, and we're going to cross-reference the 8. And as long as there are no pitcher adjustments, because pitcher adjustments are made on the red, batter adjustments are made on the black, which if you go off, you can see that they're also color-coded here, so red and black, the pitchers and the batters. And so if you need to make an adjustment for a pitcher, let's say a pitcher is a -1 pitcher, then instead of an 8 of hearts, we're going to think of it as a 7 of hearts. So we're going to go -1 this way for the pitchers. So instead of a fly ball to left, it'd be a fly ball to center field. Sometimes it doesn't make any difference, but if someone were to pull, let's say, a queen of hearts and the pitcher was a -1 instead of a walk, it would be a fly ball to left field. Now, if there was a runner on third, that asterisk means he's going to score automatically. It's a deep fly ball to left, but it's not a walk, right? With nobody on base, you would go from a walk to an out. So it actually, there's little small subtleties like that all throughout the game. And you think, well, it's not making much difference until you get to a situation where it makes a big difference, whether it's a walk or it's a fly ball. 2 outs, bases loaded. A walk is way different than a fly ball to left field, right? So there is a reward for a good pitcher. And I just wanted to make sure that there was a reward for bringing in, there's a need to bring in a good pitcher, as opposed to just bring in a pitcher and it's totally luck. There's a lot of luck, but there is a little bit of decision making and strategy in this game, which I think really separates it from a lot of other quick play type games where you're just kind of pounding out scores. There's a little bit more substance to this game, which I think is going to set it apart from lots of other games in the market. So if you're looking for a quick play game and you wish, man, I just wish I had a little bit more, I wish I had just a little bit more meat on the bone for this game. It would make it like a little more decision making, a little more of something. Maybe this game would be a good one for you. So that's how that works. If it were a batter, can we pull a batter? We got a 5. So for a batter, it would be 5 of spades. That would be a fly ball to right field. If the batter was a +1, it would be a fly ball to center. And if he was a +2, it would be a ground ball to the shortstop. Now, as you go this way, the outcomes get better for a hitter. So you might say, oh, well, a fly ball is still a fly ball. But here there's an automatic chance for, if the runner is at third, to drive in that run. As opposed to here, there's no automatic chance. So if there's a fly ball to center field or right field here and a runner is on third, everybody's going to hold. If you hit a fly ball to right field here or left field here and there's less than 2 outs and a runner at third, that runner is going to score automatically. So these results should get better for the batter. These ground outs are better than this ground out, or this one. Maybe not better than that one, but better than this one, because this one is going to hold a runner at third base. These two aren't as good. But a grounder 4-3 is going to actually move a runner over to third. So they get a little bit better. The error is up here next to the walks and the hits. And then obviously you have your home run chance here. So there's a 1 out of 52 chance for a home run. For most batters, that's probably pretty close to their per plate appearance averages. I did go through the league averages for each of these, and I averaged out everything per plate appearance. So what it was, the percentage of getting each of these things per plate appearance, and that was how we got to these numbers. You can see there's quite a few strikeouts here, from 61 to 76. There are a lot of strikeouts coming during that era. So more than if you go to some of the older seasons, you might only have 4 or 5 chances for a strikeout, but you have quite a bit here. If you go to more modern seasons, you have something like 10 or 11 opportunities for a K. So, I'm trying to match the era here and try to give you the look and feel of baseball. Now, if you go out and you purchase multiple eras, multiple sets of players, you're going to get multiple play-by-play charts, because you're going to have one for each of the eras. And then you could literally play the expansion. If you like the 60s but you want to play with modern players, you could play with the modern players using this chart here. Maybe after a while I'll just release all those out to the wild, and people can have those to available to just download them, and you can play with whatever era that you want to. That's what I do with on-base baseball, and I think it allows you the freedom to kind of put players in the era that you like, and get you into the flow of the era that you think is the quote-unquote right way to play baseball. So here you can make adjustments for the batters. Here you would make an adjustment for a pitcher. If it's a 0, then it simply is an 8 of hearts. and that would be your result. That's you mark down the F7. Anything that happens on the bases is sort of up to you. General guidelines are if there's a single, all batters move up one base. If you have an asterisk on here, which there are a few of these, so if there's a single, double, a single or a double with an asterisk, that means that the base runners go as many bases as the hit plus one. So it's a single, and all runners move up not one base but two bases. It's a double, but all runners move up not one base but two bases. So a runner would score from first on an ace of clubs. A runner would score on first on a double. But if it was an ace of diamonds, the runner would go from first to third on the double. So that's how that works for hits. For outs, it's going to be the asterisk is if there's a runner at third base with less than 2 outs, that runner scores automatically. So you can see that these are sort of up higher, and as you get down lower, you get more pop outs, and you get more line outs, and you get more strikeouts and things like that are sort of good for the pitcher. So that's how the chart generally works. If you've kept up with my football game, No Huddle Football, so it kind of works a similar way. You have penalties whenever you go off of the chart one way or the other. So this is kind of a similar mechanic to the way that works as well. Okay, so those are your main components. Now let's look at the rosters. I just have an example of a couple of pages of rosters, and we can get in here close, but it's gonna sort of knock out some of the statistics. This is page 2. Let's get page 1 in here. So we got page 1, and you can see it clearly tells you what years for these roster sheets. There's about 100 and something pages worth of rosters, because we have every year between 1961 and 1976, every season, you're going to get this is Baltimore here, and then you can see Boston starts here. 1961 all the way down, you get the batters, and then you can see here the separator, and you can tell by the grades here. So there's nothing really, and then you get your pitching grades here. These are going to be your pitchers here. So you got your pitchers, you got your batters. Sorry, you can't see that. So there's the batters, and here are the pitchers. You can see them here. So when we zoom out, you can see how we have all of Baltimore here. And then Boston starts here and would go onto the second page. So you can see Boston comes down onto the second page and then starts the Cubs. So all of the teams are listed. They're listed alphabetically, so that makes it a little bit easier to find the teams that you're wanting to use. There's a little bit of space here along this edge, so quite a bit of space if you wanted to do a hole punch and you wanted to do these. I can't do a true. Can I do a true back to back? I can't. Okay. So if you wanted to make these back to back like this and just print on both sides, then you could hole punch here, and then you'd be able to sort of flip through all of your seasons. If you only wanted to do one season at a time, you just print out your seasons back to back. You print the pages, and you can go through the PDF and you can look and say only print page 1 through 8 or whatever it is. The page numbers are listed here, and so then you could hole punch, and you would have 6 or 8 pages that you'd be able to just sort of flip through and have access to every single player. So I try to make it as user friendly as I could. I know that roster sheets are not everybody's favorite, but whenever you're dealing with this amount of data, and whenever you're trying to put seasons out quickly and rate every season from 1901 to 2022 is going to be rated for this game. So when you're trying to do 100 plus years of baseball history, the roster sheets are the best way to go, and they're going to be very concise, keeping all of your data together. So hopefully you find it actually refreshing and easy to use. If you put it in a little 1/4-inch binder, you would have an entire season, or you could put 4 or 5 seasons in there, even a decade probably, into a 1/4-inch binder. And you would have them, if you put them in protective sheets or something like that, they would just be there, and you have all your rosters with no issues and no problems. But let's zoom in a little bit so that we can see what we're getting. So for each batter, hopefully you can see that okay. For each of the batters here, you can see their team name, their season, and then you can see that they're rated for star, power, and rating. And then these are all just statistics that we have. WOBA is actually the one that we're using to rate the batters in quick play baseball. So that's why I put it first. I won't tell you the ratings, but the ratings are in the ratings are inside the game guide, how I got to them. That means you can use them too. If you don't want to go through that process, just wait for the eras to come out. You're going to get massive amounts of players for like $50 if you bought them all, or $60, 70. I guess $70 you would have the entirety of baseball to be able to play with quick play all the way up until 2022. So if you just wanted to rate a few players, you'll find that some players are actually not on here, so it's going to be helpful for you to be able to rate a player if you're doing a full replay and you have a player who had less than 30 plate appearances, but you want to get them in the game. You're going to need to know how to rate him. He's most likely going to be a 0 because he's not getting into the game very much. So we're rated for a star. A star is any player with a 370 WOBA. So you can see Jim Gentile here is a 453 WOBA. A WOBA is weighted on base average, which is a newer sabermetric stat that is a little bit, it's got sort of a combination of batting average and OPS. It takes into account not only the batter's ability to hit, but his ability to get on base, his ability to hit for power. All of the players that you would expect to have that kind of high WOBA actually have it. I don't have too many examples on here, but you're talking about your Ted Williams of the world. You're talking about Aaron Judge. You're talking about Babe Ruth. You're talking about Lou Gehrig. I mean, you name the great hitters, and they probably have a 370 or more WOBA. I was doing the next set, the free agency set, and George Brett every year gets a star. So it's that type of player. A lot of them are going to be Hall of Famers. A lot of them are going to be all-stars. And so if you have that sort of frame of reference in your mind, those players probably get a star, or some player that just came out of nowhere and crushed the ball for a year. So you get a star, and if you have 30 or more home runs, you get a +1. So here his home runs are 46, and that's Jim Gentile. He had 46 homers, 141 RBIs in 1961. So he actually gets a power rating of +1. Now these two ratings here are going to be used in the quick play game, the quick play version of the game. And a star means that that player can get a hit on a 9 or a 10. So instead of 2 opportunities, he gets 4 in that at bat to get a hit in the quick play version. The +1 just means that if he draws a jack, then it gets upgraded to a queen, similar to what we do with the play-by-play chart where you move them up and down. He gets a +1 on his hit. So if he gets a hit, draws a 9 or a 10 and gets a hit, then when you draw the face card, whatever that face card is, it goes up 1. So chance to move from a triple to a home run, double to a triple, etc. So a +1, that means he's got an extra chance to kind of move up for a home run. And then this rating column here that you can see, I don't want to go too far, you can see here that there's a lot of zeros and +2s and +1s. This simply means this is the rating that we're going to use for the medium version and the full play version. So whenever I talk about making adjustments up or down the chart, this is the rating that you're going to use. And I'll show you in just a minute how to sort of take the data from this and get it onto your score sheet. But you have a value here that is the rating, and the rating is what you're going to use as your adjustment. There's a rating for batters, and then there's also some ratings for pitchers. So you can see the rating here. We have a lot of -2s. That means that their FIP is 3.5 or less. And then you have some -1s, and then you have some zeros. And you can see that they roughly equate to the letter grades. Now the letter grades are what you're going to use if you want to use pitchers to affect the outcome of the quick play version. So you can actually make it so that pitchers have some say in the way that the deck is built for each team in the quick play version. It's a very easy process, but it's also very unique, I think. It's kind of a unique way of looking at a quick play game. So read through the manual, watch some videos, and you'll understand how to play the quick play version, how to get that all set up. I'm not going to go through that here, but if you look on the On Base Baseball YouTube channel and you go to the quick play, what's it called? Quick play playlist, you'll find a ton of quick play resources there. So you have your pitcher grades, you have your rating here for the pitchers. So any adjustments that you need to make for each pitcher are going to be found here. And then, like I said, you just get statistics galore. I tried my best to sort of give you valuable statistics that you can actually look at and use in the game. Averages all the way over here on the right. You have your stolen base numbers and caught stealing. And then some of these are vanity stats. Some of them are interesting to look at. What I did was for the batters, only batters with 30 plate appearances or more are included in the game. So here we have quite a few -1s here. Those are probably pitchers. Milt Pappas and Steve Barber. Is Busby? No, not Busby. So Chuck Estrada, Milt Pappas, Jack Fisher. You're going to find all those pitchers here because they will have gotten 50 to 100 at bats or plate appearances just because they're starting pitchers before the DH, right? So you have pitchers in here mixed in with position players who got very little playing time, but you can see that they're all you can see that they are sorted by plate appearances. So Brooks Robinson had the most plate appearances of anybody on the team, and then it's kind of in descending order. And then for the pitchers, we go by total batters faced. So not innings, although that's probably going to match up almost 1-to-1. But total batters faced is how we did this. And I did not put any sort of filters on pitchers. So any pitcher that got into a game is in this game. Let's see. Yeah. So 1 inning, 6 batters. That's Tom Borland. And I don't know if you can see him there. So he's here. Tom Borland. He got into 1 game. He faced 6 batters. And he's in this game. And the same thing for modern seasons too. So you have a lot of pitchers in this game. And not as many hitters. So again, if you want to rate those players, then you feel free to rate them. I'll tell you how to do it in the game guide. But that's really just for the as played replays. You want to make sure you get this person in the game, and you need a way to rate them, right? Most likely they're going to be a 0 or a -1. And these are stats that you can look up at fangraphs.com. They have WOBA. Also at Baseball Reference, they have something called ROBA, ROBA, which is just the Baseball Reference version of WOBA, which is extremely close. They're not the same number, but they're close enough if you want to use Baseball Reference. It's under the batting section and then advanced batting is what it's called, advanced batting. So that is our sheets. So if you have, let's say, an example right here of, we have a game from 1961, May 27th, Boston at Baltimore. And so if we look at Baltimore here, let's just pull this out a little bit. We have Baltimore here, and they're here on the bottom. And so we're looking through the way that I like to do it. Let's say I'm playing the full play version. The way I like to do it is I like to go through all of the names and just sort of find out who has the plus values. I'm not as concerned with people who have a 0. You could write the zeros in here if you wanted to. But really the only thing you need to know is who has a plus value. Because it could be nobody, could be somebody. I don't think anybody on the Braves, on the Red Sox has a plus value. We'll have to check. So here we have Jim Gentile. He has a +2, so I'll just mark that in there. I'm using a sheet from digidugout.com, so just went and found a game where these two, because I printed them off, found a game that they were playing, and just went and printed one of the games that they played from 1961. We have a +1 for Jackie Brandt. So Jackie Brandt gets a +1, center fielder. And we have one for Whitey Herzog, right fielder, gets a +1. And Earl Robinson. We have Brooks, but not Earl, playing in this game. And I also want to look at the pitcher, Chuck Estrada. Chuck Estrada gets a -1. So I want to make sure that for the batters that have a -1, you treat that like you do a pitcher, except it's on the batter side, on the black, the clubs or the spades. So then you would subtract 1. So if Chuck Estrada drew a 5 of clubs, you would subtract 1, and that would be a 4 of clubs. So he would sort of move toward where it's good for the pitcher. Okay, and then we want to look at our pitchers. Our pitcher is Chuck Estrada. He's a C grade and a 0 rating. So there's nothing to add or subtract there. And then we go over to Boston. So you can see that the transfer here is super easy. Again, this is our rating column, and you can see that it kind of goes up. And then this is our rating column for the pitchers. So when we're looking at Boston, let's see if we have any +1s. Don Budden gets a +1. He's a shortstop. And we have Pete Runnels is not playing in the game. This must be a very young Carl Yastrzemski. He doesn't get any sort of rating adjustment. Pumpsy Green is going to get a +1, which he's not in the game. And that's it. So Mom Biquette is a -1. And then as a pitcher, Mom Biquette is also a -1, but that's a good thing. So as a hitter, not a good thing. As a pitcher, that's a good thing. So we want to set our lineups here. So you can see that Budden is the only one on the Red Sox who's going to get a +1. And then we have several adjustments here, plus adjustments for the Orioles. Just from looking at that, you can tell who has the stronger lineup because you know that they're getting these because they have higher WOBAs for that particular season. So these are actually better batters, and they have more good batters in the lineup that can make adjustments than do the Red Sox. The Red Sox have the better pitcher. The Orioles have the better batter. Should be a pretty even matchup all around. So from there, you're done with these until you need to make some sort of substitution. But now you're ready to play the game, and basically you would set up whatever gameplay you want, whether it's the quick version, the medium, or the fast play version. I mean the full play version. If you wanted to set it up for if you wanted to set it up for the quick play version, there's only one player between these two that has any sort of ratings. So instead of doing the ratings this way, you would go to Jim Gentile and you would give them a star and a +1. You probably wouldn't have these other ratings here because you're probably not going to switch back and forth. Once you set up the quick play version, it's not as easy to go back and forth. But switching between the medium and the full play version, let's say you want to do the first 7 innings with the medium version, and then you want to play out play by play the last 3, you could do that between the medium and the full play, but you can't really do that with the quick play. You'd have to like stop everything and make sure you shuffle the cards really good because you're going to separate out the cards for the quick play version. So you could definitely do that. It would take a little bit more time to just get yourself set up to do the full play or the medium play version. Okay, so now it's set for either version. You have your ratings for the full play or the medium play, and then you also have the quick play version ratings as well. Just the 1-star player with a +1 power. Excuse me, Boston doesn't have anyone who's like that. And then you would set the pitchers. So Estrada is he's a C, and Monbiquet is a B. So that would tell you everything you need to know. You don't necessarily even have to write those down. That would be what you use to set up the game. So you wouldn't necessarily need to write those down. You just need to know that, okay, I'm going to pull the 4s out of the Baltimore, out of the home team side. I'm going to pull the 4s out because that's going to, or the out of the Boston side, I'm going to pull the 4s out because he's a worse pitcher, or the 4s and the 5s for a C pitcher. So you would get that all set up. But that's a run through of all the components that you get. That actually is the game. You're also going to get the game guide, which explains how to play both the quick play, the quick play, the medium, and the full play versions. It will have explanations of all of these, what all of these symbols and everything here means. And there are some, in the quick play version, you can also use jokers. And if you want it to still have rare plays, there's some rare plays in there, just a few of them for they're kind of crafted, a little table crafted for the quick play version. If you wanted to still get in some rare, unusual plays when you pull a joker. And you can leave in 1 joker or 2 or 1 in each side or whatever you want to do. Once you play a joker, you take it out of the rotation. So you can't have more than one rare play per game. So, all right. I think that's it. You can get this game if you go to onbasebaseball.com, and then you go to if you're on a desktop computer, you go to the top header and you click on Quick Play Baseball. Or if you shop, you can go to the shop, which I think from the front page, it's the first big button at the top of the page in the picture, where the baseball field picture is. If you click on there and you go to shop, there's a tab in there for Quick Play Baseball, and you can go there. I'll put the link directly to the collection of Quick Play Baseball in this video, so you click on that as well. But if you go and click on the link to On Base Baseball or Quick Play Baseball, you'll learn more about the game and see another video of me basically doing the same thing as I'm doing here. And then you can learn more about the game as well. But $10 is the price. If you've previously purchased Quick Play Baseball, I'm sending out an email that gives you 25% off. So be sure to, if you've purchased the original version, I want to give you a little bit of a discount just as a thank you for those who have supported the game up to this point. So if you haven't received that in your email, that'll be coming soon, and you can get 25% off. So you can use it for $7.50 instead of $10. But $10 for 15 or 17 seasons is still an amazing deal. It's like I said, less than 60 cents per season. So it's a really good deal. You get a ton of players. They're all rated. You don't have to do anything except print them and start playing the game. It really is an easy game to get into. If you have any questions or comments, you can either email me at onbasebaseball@gmail.com, or you can go to the contact form at onbasebaseball.com and you can email me through the form, or you can simply leave a comment or a question down in the comment section of this video. If you haven't subscribed to the On Base Baseball channel, we have 3 different games: On Base, On Base Advanced, and Quick Play, that sort of get put here, and any other sort of off-the-wall games I think of. I'll usually demo those concepts or ideas here. So if you're interested in tabletop baseball, and especially sabermetric-based tabletop baseball, this is a good channel for you. And I also have a series on if you're interested in creating a tabletop sports game in general. I'm just sharing my thoughts sort of over time as I think of different topics and things to talk about. I'm putting those in a playlist about designing tabletop sports games, and it may be of interest to you if that's something that you wanted to try, or something that you have an idea in your head but just not exactly sure what to think about it or how to think about it, or you're stuck. Might be some helpful things in there for you. All right, I think that's it from here. Go out and get the game. I think you'll enjoy it. Once you get it and you start playing, post to social media. That's one of the biggest ways that you can help the game to spread, is if other people seeing you play, and other people get to ask you questions about the game, and then you can talk them through it. So I can only do so much, but all of us together can help to let others know about the game. And a really easy way is to give this video a thumbs up. That tells Google this is good content and it's worth showing to other people. And the more people see this, the more people have a chance to know that the game even exists. So if you want to help some way other than buying the game, any way you can to just spread the word that this game is worth going out to get, and that it has something that other games don't have that is of interest to a lot of gamers. So that would be much appreciated. And I appreciate everyone's support who has supported this game and all of my other games at this point. Really appreciate it, and really am thankful that the community is hungry for something a little different that's not APA or Strat. And so that's good to know. It's good to know because it keeps the fires going and the ideas coming. If you see any errors or anything that needs to be added to the game, please reach out to me and let me know. That way I can get those fixed quickly. This is the official launch on the YouTube channel. The game was officially launched yesterday on Facebook, and so please just go out and get it if you're interested. It's not much of a money commitment to get into a lot of seasons, and you can play to your heart's content for $10 probably. It's a lot of seasons, and you'll be able to play your favorite eras, your favorite players. That's one of the really cool parts is, if your lane is the 60s and 70s, this set is for you, because you're going to get all the 60s and half the 70s. And so if you like those early 70s teams, this is the one. If you like those late 60s teams, this is the one. You can play with Koufax, you can play with Willie Mays, and you can play with Yastrzemski, and you can play with Bobby Doerr, and all the greats throughout the late 60s. You get the Frank Robinsons, you get Brooks Robinson, you get Jim Palmer, you get all these great players from those great late 70s. Bob Gibson is going to be all throughout this set as well. So go out and get it, and let me know what you think about the game. Love to hear your thoughts. Love to hear any ideas that you have for homebrews, or what are you doing with the game, and love to share those with the community as well. All right, I think that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.